Perfect.
All right, so welcome. This is my first podcast here with our first guest, Jason Atwood, known as the Real Atwoods on TikTok. And he's got like 380,000 followers, so I thought this would be a great place to start because that's all our dream. So, Jason, tell me about who you are, man.
Well, I've been in Grace Harbor my whole life, except for like a year and a half where I lived in Olympia. But came back, and I'm a realtor and brokerage owner of Olipen.
Nice.
And I have a wife that I've been married to for 13 years. Oh, this would be the 13th year. And then 3 kids. So newborn, 10 months old, 4 years old, and 9.
Okay,
so,
nice.
Definitely busy season of life right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then apparently all of a sudden I'm a TikToker. So.
Yeah. Came absolutely out of nowhere.
Yep.
So, like, where would you say, like, kind of that exciting, outlandish, just, like, different personality came from? Because TikTok wasn't where it just started. It just didn't come from there. So, like, where would you say that kind of, like, was birthed?
You know, I would say it started, like, late high school-ish.
Yeah.
We had, like, those spirit weeks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I'm a bobcat.
Absolutely.
I had this huge hat that I made. So, just a baseball hat with these cones, and then I put, like, pom-poms. It looked like a Viking hat. And then I would wear that and wear, like, all the other stuff. And so that put me in, like, the spirit king status.
Yeah.
So I was loud in band. I was loud at games.
Love it.
Like, I just like to be loud. Then I'm a huge Tocks fan. So loud there. When the Mariners are exciting, I'm
when
loud
they don't
there.
suck.
Yeah. So loudness has always been kind of there for me for these last 17, 18 years.
Yeah, totally.
And so, yeah, I also like to just be weird in general. So it's kind of like whatever it takes for people to smile and laugh, even if it's kind of laughing at me a little bit.
Yeah. Coins.
So,
yeah,
it's fun.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, I think that's some people's personalities built like they just want to have other people smile, right? And that's probably been you for a long time. And then as you kind of started figuring out how to do that was like kind of some of the Spirit King stuff and people enjoyed you were able just to latch on. I love that. So, all right, let's transition to TikTok.
Okay.
Because that's really what we're here for. So what got you to start making TikToks?
Well, at least for people my age, we started using it when COVID hit.
Yeah.
So March 2020, we were all stuck at home trying to find something to do, and TikTok was like, I've heard of it, but whatever, I'll check it out. Scroll a little bit.
Yeah.
Heather kind of led the whole process of we're gonna do this, and I didn't know how you use sounds and all that.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
Totally.
So we had, like, the Atwood band. That's
awesome.
And so we started doing a bunch of little TikToks like that. But it was really, like, we didn't do it very often.
Yeah.
And so at one point I deleted it just to stop the scrolling.
Yeah,
100%. Like unnecessary scrolling.
Because you literally, if I open TikTok, I know I'm there for an hour.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's one thing that screws up my morning routine the most.
Absolutely, I believe it.
But I ended up reinstalling it probably when we had to put masks back on and stay home again. So and then, I mean, in terms of the whole big video, is that what we want to hear about now?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that was one where it was just one of those 105-degree days, which we don't have here.
Which was terrible here because no one has AC.
Right. And so we actually had COVID at that time.
Oh, geez.
And so it's like, we're staying home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's get one of those big, huge sheets of plastic from Home Depot.
Yeah,
like it was.
100%.
And so we bought that, brought it home, I set it up, and Weston loved it. And so we did some videos of him and then Jalen sliding, and then I did that one where I set it up at the end and slid towards it.
Yeah.
And like kind of the rest is history at that point.
Absolutely.
But I put it on just Facebook stories at first. And then one of my competitors, Christian Arberg, was like, you should put that on TikTok to the I'm a snake sound.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. So
the slippery little snake.
Yeah, so I did.
Yeah.
And then I put it away and I kept sliding and Weston was playing and then I came back over, I don't know, 5-10 minutes later, whatever, and like 99 plus notifications. I've never seen anything like that. Usually it's max 5.
100%.
So it said 99 plus. I pulled it open. It was like 5,000 views, which is way more than any views that I've ever seen. And then I actually went inside to Heather. I think this might be going viral because this is way faster than I've seen. I don't even know what viral is in terms of what it's going to do, but it seems like it's way faster. And so...
Like you know what the path looks like to get to viral. Like,
so then like an hour later, it's like 50,000, and then it was like 100,000, and then 250, then 5, and the exponential growth was like, by the end of the day, it's 1 million.
Wow.
And that's where people started to comment things like, you should do this to this sound. And so I was learning TikTok, so I would reply to them, you know, with a little comment bubble.
Yeah.
And so I redid it with the big and chunky sound. And that one went fast to like the 8 million mark. But then somebody in the comments was like, you should do this again without the comment response. And so I reposted same video, same sound, but no comment box. And dude, it was like that one hit 1 million before I hit dinner time. And
that's great. Like, what time did you post it?
It was early afternoon, maybe.
That's unbelievable.
So it was like several hours later, 1 million views. And now it's where it was like, boom, like next morning it's 4 million, then 7 million, and then, the other ones took maybe a week to hit 8.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a lot of them that I've done since then that hit 8, they take a long time and they stop.
Yeah.
At 8, maybe 10. Most recently it was like 10, it was the snow one.
Yeah.
So.
That looked terrible, by the way.
The one in my yard was not terrible in terms of my body. The one on the dock.
Yeah.
That was, I think I'm still scratched.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
By the way, guys, check him out at The Real Atwoods on TikTok. His TikToks are hilarious. So I got a story. So Jason and I played on a softball team together. And I remember right before this all happened. This is like a couple of weeks before it all happens. He just came out with this 3-part series of him imitating his wife. Like when he's in a car, like talking about like getting coffee and just different things. It was like, it was funny, and it was like, I remember I was sitting there watching it through like 2 innings because it was like so long, and it was hilarious. But like they post it, it gets like, I don't know what, a couple hundred views. One of them got a decent amount, right?
Maybe 1,000.
Yeah, maybe. But the other ones were like 150, right. Like because it was
140 is the specific number. That was like the TikTok cap. Like, nope, sorry, you're too old to be on here, so we're going to cap you at 140.
Yeah. And then so after I hear about he has this viral video, because I didn't see it. I never really use TikTok very much. Yeah. Alex told me the day after, he's like, no, he's viral now. Like, actually, I might have seen it. I saw it on Barstool. That's where it got sent to me on Barstool. I was like, dude, this guy looks like Jason. I was like, that's Jason. I was like, what is going on? Like, there's no way. And so, then I go back and look at those videos, because I'd seen those videos on his channel, and now it's 50K, 60K. Like, I was like, what happened? Like, this is just, it's so crazy to see. So, another thing that you did was you made gifts back in the day.
Right.
And so, one of the funniest things, I knew this was all real, is I was on someone completely disconnected. His name's Aiden. He's a Warzone pro. A lot of people say he's the best player in the world. And he makes a post, and in the replies was a gif of you. That's not the slip and slide. Like, it was completely different. It was like of your face something. Like, you had made this gift, like, years before.
Was it this one where I'm, like, waiting?
It might have been.
I think that might have been the one that you had sent over.
Probably.
Like, there's 2 that went big. And if you... I haven't checked tenor in a while, but...
Is that how you make them?
Well, you make them just on a video, and then you do video to GIF. It's GIF maker.
That is awesome.
And then you put it in tenor, and then they'll actually make it public people, and that's how they veer into. Well, the first one that happened, I was bald at the time.
Yep.
And so there was one where I did. Did you say tacos?
Did you say tacos?
And so somebody texted me at like midnight one night, and he goes, "Dude, I was just trying to find the perfect gift to describe my Taco Bell poop, and this popped up."
That is awesome.
Because that's the first time I'd heard anybody. I just used them for myself.
Yeah,
you know, like
absolutely.
They were not there for. It was just in my own little like personal use spot. Like, there's a lot of gifts I use for work where I'm like in my suit, jumping up and down with excitement.
That so you just send to
somebody
people.
closes on their purchase.
Yeah.
And I'll send that gift.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
So that was kind of the main reason why, instead of just emojis and text, to kind of break up the monotony. And people were like, is that you in the GIF?
Yeah.
Because nobody else does that.
Yeah.
Or
that is
at the time.
That is awesome. So, like, what was the feeling like? Like, so in this business, essentially, like in the content creation business, in what we're all trying to do, for at least a lot of people that will probably watch this, we're all just looking for that break.
Right.
Right? That moment that, well, that's at 1 million views by dinner. Right? Like that one that's like, okay, this could change the game.
Right.
How'd that feel? Like, walk me through that.
I mean, it was cool, shocking, and just generally weird. Like, I kept telling everybody, like, I have no idea why it's doing this, because things like making fun of my wife and like those impersonations that were hilarious on Facebook because they knew her. TikTok's like, nope.
Yeah, like that doesn't tie.
So I'm trying to be funny or trying to put out funny content, and it's like, nope. Well, then the organic stuff just popped out of never known. I wouldn't even thought to make it a TikTok. You know, and so it's just shocking. And I've studied that whole algorithm a lot. And for me, if I'm not sliding or if I'm not making the motion of my eyes towards the camera, it's gonna cap it early.
That is so crazy.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. There was one other video I did that had like 250,000 views, maybe a little more now, where I purchased that Super Soaker. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what I saw online was the whole, like, and it shoots like super powerful sprays of water, and what I got was like the and so I did, like when you buy a Chinese version of an awesome squirt gun, and this is what you get. And like, that one had pretty good response, but I mean 99% of the time, unless it's sliding, it does nothing.
And even saying like 250K is a ton, that's nothing compared to like some of your sliding videos. And it's like, and that's hilarious, right? It's so interesting how like these platforms will almost create a niche for you.
Right.
Like you don't get to choose your niche.
Right.
And that's actually really interesting because for small streamers or small content creators, like the thing that's preached so often is find a niche, right? Like figure out what it is and just go with it. And it's got to be something like you're loving or something like that. And not saying that you don't love doing what you're doing, but really the algorithm picked the niche for you.
Yep.
You probably actually enjoy some of the other videos more.
Yeah, it's almost like I have to put a new account out to impersonate Heather.
Wow.
Right? Like, if I want to find success there and then post those impersonations every day until one hits, and then I can stick with that niche on that account.
You ever thought about doing that?
I've thought about it, but I'm also selling real estate. And
you got a lot going on.
It's busy. If my life was a little different, if it was 20 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. So, like, tell me what's like kind of being older in the TikTok scene, too. I mean, just being honest, like...
You're just calling me old.
Yeah. I mean, you're double the age of most people on the platform.
I mean, at first, we were absolutely, like, in the older crowd. I mean, I feel like TikTok has changed now to where a lot, at least from what I'm seeing when I scroll, they're all, I mean, not all. Like, it's a pretty wide range.
It's not like you're getting, like, the middle school kids doing dances, right? That's not, the algorithm's not pushing that to you.
Right. It's like teens to 40s. 50s,
interesting.
Not 50s. Like, it seems like 45, 50 is probably that.
So that's actually an interesting thing, because I don't see anybody older on mine. Like, mine is all my age group.
Right.
Right, so I see 18 to 25.
Right.
Strictly. And so, because maybe some of the things that you like, because of just, like, some of your interests, maybe that's why you see more. So it probably doesn't have any feel of, like, being older on the platform, because what you see on there is the other people in your, like, sector, I guess, in your age range. That's actually really interesting. I never even would have thought of that.
Right. And it could be where if I see something that I'm not relating to, I'm just...
You swipe right through.
And so the stuff you stay on, even I don't typically like, unless I am laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Like then I'll like it.
Yeah.
But I don't hit likes, and I know likes definitely start to reform your feed. So
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I haven't felt. There are definitely comments where it's like, you know, what do they say? Like, are you my dad's friend or something, like, you know, clearly, like, that's
hilarious.
Think of any specific examples, but that's
Yeah.
That's the stuff
The common one I would get on my YouTube shorts is that I look like Brock Lesnar. like a Walmart version of Brock Lesnar. that's
the man. People get mean on TikTok. You get the screen in front of them.
Yeah,
they don't care. They feel protected.
Oh, dude, people will say anything from behind the keyboard.
Yeah, people are like, it's the Dollar Tree version of Roman Atwood, and I'm like, people will say like, are you Roman Atwood's brother or Roman Atwood's dad? I'm like, I'm pretty sure Roman Atwood's older than me. So. Like, yeah,
you ever just like read through and you're just like, okay, that's actually hilarious.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people are in some cases better at their comments than they are the content they're putting out there.
Absolutely,
and it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
like, I mean, there's some I look back and they have like 800,000 likes on their comment.
Yeah,
you know,
and then you go look at their page and they have like 500 posts and like 500 likes with it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is so funny because, like, yeah, I'll read through sometimes, and obviously mine's not as big as yours, but I have, like, one that's got, like, 50,000 on YouTube and different, and so I'll get some comments, and I did a series, it's, like, the greatest video games of all time, and to see how heavily people disagreed with my list, it was the top 10,
right,
and the things that they would say was, like, it's just funny. It's, like, hilarious. Every once in a while you read something, and, like, there's no way you spent that much time thinking of to be that mean.
Right.
But, like, for the most part, you get these comments that are just absolutely, like, hilarious. Like, you know what? Well done. I get John Cena sometimes too. John Cena and Brock Lesnar. I'm the Walmart brand.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, hey, those are pretty good-looking dudes. I'll take Walmart version.
Well, and you know those guys are all, like, make-upped up.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
It's not natural.
Yeah, absolutely. So, jumping back to the 70 million view video, right? Mm-hmm. That's because last I saw was at 70 million. I don't know. How often you look at it, by the way?
I think I don't check the numbers on those videos. I'll check the ones that I post for a couple weeks, and then when they stop, I stop looking. Yeah. I think it's like 75 million, though.
Really? 75? Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
75 million views. And so, is it weird to think about, like, there's groups of friends out there that talk about, like, the Moto guy. Like, oh, yeah, like, you know, they sent that to their friends. Right. And, like, their whole group of friends laughed about it. Right? Yeah. They all enjoyed it. Is that weird to think that, like, you're in those circles in a way? Like, you found your way in.
It is weird. And, like, the first moment where it was like, this is weird, was at the softball tournament. Mm-hmm. It was, like, the wood bat tournament.
Yeah.
And I came out, and I was playing at first base, and I could hear, and it was an out-of-town team that came from, like, Olympia.
Them talking about it?
And they were like, yeah, he has, like, whatever views on TikTok. I could absolutely hear the conversations. Yeah. And I was like, this is freaking strange.
Yeah.
Like,
was it, like, cool, or was it, like, uncomfortable, or?
I mean, it's kind of cool. Like, the fact that what's actually even cooler is, so we had a foreign exchange student, Katarina, and so she lives in Germany.
Yeah.
And she has had multiple times where her friends are like, look at this, like, over there. And if I open up my data on the videos, like 35% of the viewers are Germany.
Wow.
And the last time I checked on some of the most recent videos, it's like 32% United States.
Wow.
30% Germany, 70% France. Like, and it's like worldwide.
Yeah. Way
more than you'd think. For a lot of people think I'm Russian. Especially after the snow ones.
I mean, that makes sense. Like, I could see it. Like, I'm not saying that you look Russian. Like, that makes sense why they might think, like, somebody's different. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, when I was, like, early in streaming, I would stream late in the night, like I still do. But, like, I would stream at, like, 3 in the morning, and I would stream a game called Forza Horizon.
Hold on, there's a 3 in the morning?
Yeah, believe it or not. Yours is 6. I don't see that one very often. 6, 7 a.m. 5? Yeah, I see 5. But
no, just the other way?
Exactly. It's more like my late night than my early morning.
Oh my gosh, that makes me want to barf. I used to open at Starbucks, and it was like I had to be there at 4, and my body doesn't handle that.
I think that we are consistently up till 4, 5. That's.
Oh, but you sleep until when?
Sleep. What time we get up this morning? What, 12:30, 1?
That sounds okay. So it's like if I go to Vegas, that's the schedule I take.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's awesome. And so, but I'm streaming this game that's about, like, these really cool foreign cars, and you're driving around this, like, open world, and my viewership shifted, watching analytics, it shifted to about 40% European viewership.
Okay.
And so, like, because that's the games that they're watching.
Right.
And the hours that they're waking up. And so people would wake up and they would watch, especially on, like, a Saturday or a Sunday.
Right.
They would wake up and they would come and watch. And it was, like, really interesting. It's like, whoa, this isn't just here. You'd see different, like, languages come in sometimes. You'd see, like Spanish would come in. Like, Spanish from Spain, right? And then it was just, that was... So I definitely can kind of, on a smaller scale, understand, like, that was kind of different. It's not that it's weird. It's not even that it's that cool. It's more like, whoa, like, this is interesting.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, it's cool to have common ground when you can't speak the same language. And, you know, like, what's interesting is seeing all those comments in another language that you can hold down and translate. Yeah. But it's the same comments that the Americans are making.
100%. They're laughing the same, right? Instead of H-A, it's J-A, something, you know, like it's still ha-ha-ha, right? Like,
it's awesome.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so, what's in the future for, like, TikTok? Like, is there anything that you have planned, or?
Not, like, big picture stuff. I mean, if
there's only so much you can do.
Yeah,
right?
If an idea pops up for a slide, like the one that I plan to do soon is, and I'm forgetting the name of the organization, but they, I'll remember it after we're done here. But it's they help like veterans that are dealing with PTSD get outside, right?
Okay,
and
that's
so,
awesome.
And so basically help with their mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And so to help raise awareness to that, I'm going to do a slide down my slip and slide with a full-size tuna fish.
Okay, explain
because they're based out of Westport.
Gotcha.
And so it's like the fishing part of it.
That's awesome.
And it's not really cool. It's not that the tuna fish is tying them to it, but we're going to tag them and talk about it in the
I love that
post. Yeah,
that's really cool.
That's
awesome.
That'll come soon. I want to do that one when it's just freaking pouring down rain. Like,
yeah,
it'd be fun to
so
see
it's
that.
like something that you know is going to make it go.
Yeah,
right?
It's like Pacific Northwest,
yeah.
And it's just way different than anything else that I've
absolutely.
done.
And then if you're going to raise the awareness, you want it to go, right? You want that to be one that's more important than some of the others, right?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and outside of that, when I have an idea pop up, I just put it in my notes or my to-do list, and then when it's time, I'll make it happen. But I've thought about doing one where I just have like a portable slip and slide with me. And so if I'm like Las Vegas Strip, boom, boom, just slide. And then,
could you imagine?
Right?
Or like in Hollywood, like on like the thing of Stars or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be hilarious. That's awesome. Do you ever like, so right before you post one, and you know, like when you were out in the snow, you know it's going to get, like, is there something like right before you do, it's kind of like, there's going to be 10 million people to see this.
Yes, and the one that I knew was going to was the first one I did in the snow on the deck. On
the
dock.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so frustrating because I had those peach-colored shirts on. It looked like I was naked, but I wasn't.
Yeah, so tell that whole story. Tell that whole story.
So, when I'm wearing them, they're orange. Like, you can see, but the lighting changed that. And so, I ran, oh my gosh, the whole story is even worse. So, I had a drone at the edge of the dock. Yeah. So that I could slide at the camera. Uh-huh. Algorithm, right? Yeah. And so I go.
So good.
And it's freezing. Like, it's not just freezing, it's like 25 degrees.
Yeah.
Right? And so. So I set up the controller for the drone, and then I set my controller up on the top of the deck, which is like the third level. Yeah. And then I ran down and then just did it, and I had my my friend videoing on the other side on the neighboring dock. Okay. Right? And so I full sprinted down, boom, and I'm like, sweet, it worked out perfect. It was a great slide and everything. Yeah. Right? I go back up and it only recorded the first 4 seconds of it.
Oh no!
I don't even know why. I don't know why it stopped, but something caused it to stop, and so I'm like, I have to redo this.
This guy's like nipples are about bleeding out here.
Oh, dude, it already scratched me the first time.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I learned about snow and ice is that snow is like sandpaper. Yeah. And so I didn't realize that until that moment. And it's like, so I ran it again, and because I did it again, something shifted and it like caught me. Like I slid up. You know, I had to pull myself down, but I had the other camera angle still, so I was able to recreate that into one.
Nice.
Just to make it look a little better.
Absolutely.
But
that's awesome.
Yeah, but so when I first posted it, there were comments, people thinking I was naked, you know, and I'm like,
you're like, oh no,
you can't. But what happened is it hit 10,000 in like 2 minutes.
That is insane.
And then banned.
Serious?
I wasn't banned immediately. It was like it took it off. I'm like, no. I've had them say community guidelines broken because of safety or whatever, dangerous acts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not. And I reported it and asked for, what is it called? Appeal. I appealed it, and within 15 minutes, they put it back up, no problem.
And did they keep going? Like, keep getting views, or?
Well, those ones did. So when I did the sledding in my front yard, they said dangerous acts. It wasn't, and then that one did pretty well.
Okay.
It's still doing well. It's up like 10 million. But when I reposted it, and they took it down, and I reposted it, on the third try, what's it called? Shadow ban?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You can't post for 24 hours.
Oh, jeez.
And so I wasn't able to post for 24 hours, so it lost all momentum.
Yeah.
And then I swapped in a different view for the last frame, which is me getting out of the water from from the drone perspective, and you can see I'm wearing orange shorts. And so it stayed on.
Interesting.
But then it was nowhere near.
Yeah.
And I think it's only like, did it even hit 1 million? I can't remember.
Man, that's
I don't
crazy.
think it did. I think it's like 250,000.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because I put the most into that one. Like, it freaking hurt.
You did it all right, like, and you knew like this is the one,
and it was going to be. It would have been. It may have beat the big, like the 75, because I had never seen that fast with any other video.
Yeah, it
was like, I just posted this. It was 10, and it was 11. I'm like, what? And then boom.
You think that like that could? What happens? You think that if that one goes, do you think that like breaks you through like up towards like 1 million? If it goes bigger. Could that get you like 1 million followers, you think? And then
I don't know about one video, but what I noticed in terms of the exponential growth for followers is daily posts.
Yeah.
And when I did, it was like I'd wake up to 5,000 new followers, and then it was like 1,000 followers an hour in the day, and then wake up to 5,000 followers, and then 1,000 followers. It was for real. Like, it didn't stop. And I remember I stopped one day. It was like all of July, I just followed kind of what the TikTok recommendations were. Yeah. And then August 1st, I didn't post. And it was like, shaboom! 4 followers. And then like...
Serious?
Yeah. And so if I check now, it'd be like 6. Because I haven't posted in 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Even though it's still getting a lot of views. Like, it's still going.
Right.
Like, your channel's still hitting a lot of views every day.
If I were to check right now, like I was 381.3, I bet I have... less, so 381.2. It starts to drop like 100 every few days.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that like suck? I mean,
no.
Is that like...
Because then what happens, and I don't know what it is, if somebody just clicks on a video and then all of a sudden I'll wake up one morning to 5,000. It's almost like their algorithm wants to get me excited to post more. Yeah. Because like, why would I all of a sudden have 5,000 views or 5,000 new followers out of nowhere? Yeah. But that's 100%. Happened every month or so since I started this whole thing.
Man. That is absolutely crazy. Yeah. So, like, is there a situation where, because you have a really good job, you are, for those of you that missed it, he's a realtor, he is the owner, correct? Yep. Of Ole Penn Real Estate in Grace Harbor. Obviously, it's a great job. Is there a situation where you would move away from that, let it go, and just TikTok?
I mean, it would have to be, like, first of all, I love my job because it adds value to people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I mentioned, in terms of making people smile and laugh, TikTok's doing that. Yeah. So, and at the rate that I can create, I don't know if there's enough room for me to just say, I'm going to leave that to do full-time TikTok. Absolutely. And it would have to make more money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like over 7 months now, it's like we've made like $2,000.
Yeah. Which is crazy. So just for people listening to this, like, we're talking hundreds of, over 100 million views, maybe even 200 million views, and it's bringing $2,000. Right. Right. Like, that's crazy. Right. You know,
it's wild. And I know part of it is because every time I'm using the Moto sound,
they get royalty.
I think so. If anything, I just get less. Interesting. I think if you had your original sound and original video, you might get like 4 cents per 1,000 views. But I think I'm getting 1 to 2 cents per 1,000 views, just based on the math I've done.
Okay. So, interesting. So is there like, and there's not like people out there talking about that, right? Like the royalty difference. I'm sure you've looked on YouTube. I'm sure I've
seen some of it, and I've heard, and it feels like it fluctuates a little bit. YouTube was more like $4 per thousand, and I heard recently it was like $2 per thousand. Okay. So I don't know if it's just more people in their market, and so they have to reduce. I have no idea.
Yeah. The interesting thing about YouTube is, one thing that we were talking about before this was how Jason should be posting YouTube shorts, because if TikTok has 350 million daily users, there's 2.6 billion on YouTube.
Right.
And so it just is such a larger audience. And what I was telling him is possibly making that switch, but the thing is, shorts actually do not help you get monetized. They help you with the subscribers, but you have to get 4,000 hours of watch time that's not mobile shorts. So if someone like views your short from their computer, then it'll count, because they still have to click on a video like on your channel or like wherever in their subscription tab.
Right.
But if someone watches your shorts, you do not get watch time from it.
Okay.
And so that will be something, that's something we didn't talk about before, but that is something that will make it, but once you get monetized on YouTube, I mean, YouTube takes care of creators. And we were talking about before, I just watched a video about 100,000 subscriber YouTube channel worth just under 200 grand in a year, where they went from, I don't know, like 50 to about that 100K mark. I think they were at like 55 at the beginning of the year. They get 45,000 more throughout the year, and they made $200,000 strictly off of YouTube revenue.
Right. That's wild.
Yeah, it's insane. Because that's not even, we look at each other, that's not even that big.
Right.
Like 100K is a lot, yeah, but it's not that big in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
Like, I mean, there's 100 million subscriber YouTube channels.
Right.
Like,
which is what, I mean, how much are those guys making? Like,
oh yeah,
like
it is
100,000 a day.
Whenever they post a video, it's like whenever I post a video. So I had a buddy that, I mean, I talked to him. I won't say any names, but he was talking about how he'd get $1,500 a video, and he's like, my thing was, he's like, I don't know why he didn't post more, but I mean, obviously, so the edits he was doing were really intense, and they would take a lot of time. But it's like, you get to a point where it's just like, okay, how much money do you want to make? Right? Like, how many can you get out to make the money?
Right.
Which is just such a crazy concept, and that just shows like kind of, oh, TikTok's an amazing platform. It has such great blow-up capability, which is such a blessing that, like, for small content creators wanting to have a chance at that. Although I think that one thing that was important that we kind of just breezed over was your mindset behind it. Your mindset wasn't to go make money.
Right.
Right? Like, you were making content that you enjoyed.
Right. And
it was fun to do. And I think that is where so many people get lost. When you're in this for money, you have 200 million views and $2,000 to it. Like, people are begging for 200 million views because they think that that's going to have them set. But the reality is, no, like, you got to do this for that. And then you diversify platforms and stuff if you want to turn that into money. But, like, when you're doing this for the love of making content, that's when you have an opportunity like that to blow up, right? And you're doing things that are fun. People can see the genuinity in the fact that you're just having a good time.
Right.
And so, were you ever much of a Vine user?
I didn't really use it, but I definitely watched them.
Yeah.
I'd watch a lot of the, like, pranks and scares. I love that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
I'll still watch, like, Vine reels from, like, big sets of them for the quick,
yeah.
Like,
absolutely, yeah.
I enjoy that.
My favorite Vine ever is the one who's like, pull in reverse, Terry, bag it up. Have you ever seen that one? It's a guy in a wheel. He's in a wheelchair that's, like, powered. And he's, like, getting close to these fireworks, and they light him. And then they're trying to get him to back up. He won't back up. He's just standing, these fireworks are about to go off, and he's, like, right next to it. And this guy's like, yo, put it in reverse, Terry. Bag it up, Terry. Put it in reverse. It's so funny. And then so he starts, like, backing up, and it's hilarious. It's my favorite video of all time.
That's hilarious.
But, yeah, it was fine. So I'm curious, like, what your thoughts are on, like, because TikTok is here because of Vine.
Right.
And so, like, what are your thoughts on, like, kind of how Vine evolved into TikTok?
Well, I think TikTok allowing a little bit of, I mean, now it's, 3 to 3 minute long?
Yeah,
video,
seriously.
So it's almost veered more towards a YouTube video.
It is. I agree with that.
So, in the beginning, I think it was 15 seconds only, right?
Yeah.
Or 30 seconds, maybe?
I think you're right.
And they went to 1 minute, like, in the middle of the pandemic.
Yep.
And then a few months ago, up to 3 minutes.
Which is just crazy. Yeah, it's not geared as, like, Vines were 7 seconds.
Right.
It was like you were capped at, like, 7 seconds.
Right.
So you had to be so funny in 7 seconds if you
Absolutely.
wanted any views. And some people were, right?
Yeah.
And some people had that ability. I wonder how some of those people would do on TikTok now.
Well, if they had a familiar face, they could probably do well.
Yeah.
You know, just grab that attention. And I think that first 10 minutes, like, you'll know if it's going to go well or not.
Yeah.
Like, now I know. You know,
That's interesting.
If it goes well in the first 15 minutes, it has to be at like 500-600 views, 1,000 views, or it's not going to go anywhere at all.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's
All right,
that
so
exponential thing. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's transition a little bit. So another thing about Jason is he hosts wiffle ball tournaments annually. They're incredible. He'll have a fence set up. It'll be catered. He's got weighted bases, like the sandbag heavy bases, legitimate distances. Everything is top tier, and there will be a crowd. It's one of the most amazing things. So, where'd you get the idea for wiffle ball?
So, it was actually, I posted that we cleared our yard because we had like 50 old roadies.
Yeah.
And it was like a jungle out there. The whole thing was like a jungle, which cool for privacy, but not so great in terms of maintenance and our kids.
Yeah.
And so we cleared it out and we planted grass, and I posted a picture of it. And somebody's like, it was Kyle Wisdom. He's like, that would make a great wiffle ball field. I'm like, yes it would. So then I started looking around, like measuring where it could be, and initially it started off on the scoreboard side.
Yeah.
You know, and the measurements were literally what you see for like regulation wiffle.
Yep. Which is crazy.
Like, this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, and so, and the scoreboard came from Harbor City Church. It was Alexander Young, the elementary school before. And so I spray painted that, and Heather did the what's it called, cricket stickers.
That is so awesome.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of the tournament, it was kind of like, hey, we have this field. Talking with Tracy.
Tracy's my uncle, by the way.
Yeah. So just put all that stuff together. It was like, let's get some teams and
just have a good time, right? And then you used it as a fundraiser for a local group called Young Life.
Right.
For anyone who doesn't know what that is, explain Young Life.
Yeah, so Young Life is a Jesus Christ-centered organization to help really have a safe, fun place for kids to go.
Yeah.
Usually it's a weekly thing.
Yep.
At least during school. And then, or the school, when school's in session. So not during the summer. And then at the end of the school year, like towards summer break or in summer break, they go to camp. But again, it's mostly focused on that relationship building piece. And it's just, especially in today's world, like mental health at all ages, it's good to have kids have somebody to trust and somewhere to go and just be real. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it is worldwide. Young Life is worldwide, but we donate to the Grace Harbor Young Life.
Okay, so, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that it was worldwide. That's actually really interesting. So, I mean, maybe more people are going to know about it than I thought. So, and then, so like, I got a question about that just do it attitude, right? Like, not many people are going to have someone say, hey, that would make a great wiffle ball field, and you then proceed to make it a legitimate wiffle ball field.
Right.
Like, so where did that come from, right? Like, that whole, people will hear that and be like, oh, yeah, that'd be awesome, and laugh it off. But that's just not you, and it never really has been.
Right.
And so, elaborate.
Yeah, it falls back to the whole putting smiles on people's faces. Yeah. And so I think about just in the very beginning, we bought a couple wiffle balls, a couple bats, playing with Tracy, a couple other people. If it was a 10-year-old kid or a 40-year-old adult, it was freaking awesome.
They loved it. Yeah.
And so it's like, for adults, it's like the childhood memory of playing baseball in a small field.
Yeah.
And dude, like getting to hit bombs over a fence.
Yeah, I mean, I won't brag, but I am back-to-back home run champ.
Oh, yeah.
2 years in a row.
That's sick.
Well, one home run derby champ was last year, but led the whole thing in home runs back-to-back years, and won't flex it, but, you know.
I mean, it's freaking awesome though. And I love getting big groups together, blasting music, having a good time. The rain kind of dampened things a little bit in terms of the crowd part, which I think this year is going to be even bigger.
I agree.
So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, in terms of just going and doing it, it's always been that way. Like, if you ask Tracy, he'd say if it's like an idea that could work, I'm going to try it. If it fails, oh well.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably where you got to in real estate as well. Yeah. I mean, like, to get yourself to be the head of a real estate firm or whatever it would be called, like, that, you have to go for it, right? Like, that's hard to do. It's hard to decide, you know what, like, I'm going to go for it, you know? And that's an awesome mindset.
Yeah, and there's a lot of trial and error in business. Like, you have to...
Absolutely.
And if you don't, I think you stay mediocre.
Yeah.
You know? And that's, like, in life, too, if you don't give something a shot, then it's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
absolutely. Spot on. And so, transitioning again, another cool thing that Jason does is he hosts poker games.
Right.
And so, like, I'm blessed to be a part of it. There will actually be a vlog coming about the last poker game coming pretty soon here. We're just trying to make sure that it's well executed. And it's kind of we'll be in this room. This is his man cave, which is awesome that he's letting us use it for this as well. And we'll sit around here. We'll play poker with a bunch of guys. So being a poker host, like, that's actually like a really cool thing. People talk about it for a long time, but no one really does it. So, like, what got you to start doing it?
It was probably a lot like Wiffle.
Yeah.
Honestly, Tracy probably mentioned it. Peer pressured me into doing it. You should buy this table.
Oh, man.
No, I bought the table because it was like, I mean, a good deal for the whole like ESPN look.
Yeah.
We were hosting before that already. And it was nice out here because we can have cigars and it's garage living out here, so it's not like in a house where I would be divorced if I just lit up a cigar in the house.
Yeah.
And so it's been the place for guys to come every we joke about it being once a quarter because I brought it up like 3, 4, 5 years ago. Like, how often do you guys do this? It's like, honestly, once a quarter. And they all made fun of me.
Yeah.
But it's true because we don't do it monthly. That's too often. Most of us that are married, we get in trouble.
Yeah.
Once every 6 months isn't enough.
Yeah, 100%.
It ends up being once a quarter.
Yeah, like once every 3 months.
Yeah,
like,
and it's perfect.
It is. It's and you still look forward to it. Jason will plan this out a month in advance. Like, I was talking about how, like, I was looking back today. Yeah, we played on, like, the 14th. You sent out the text December 11th.
I mean, that's how it has to be.
Absolutely,
again,
which is awesome.
Especially for married men. Like, I have to have it on the calendar because, like, tonight... You know, Heather's putting the kids to bed and, you know, got to plan for that stuff.
Absolutely, which is awesome. And so, Jason, also, actually, we'll get to that in a minute. What are some of your best memories from, like, those poker nights? Because for me, that's been such a cool way for me to get involved in, like, a different friend group. Yeah. And some people, because you have your friends in high school ends, right? And then you talk to some of them or whatever, but then you kind of form new relationships. And this was, like, a really cool way for me to find another group of dudes that are just great guys, you know? And so, what are some of your best memories?
And there's a couple where we had like 25... Were you here the night we had like 25 guys here and 2 or 3 huge tables outside?
I think there was one time that was like that. I know we played 4 tables once when I was here.
Okay, that was probably it.
Because there was another time you guys were talking about that was like really big as well. Yeah. Because I remember there was people playing inside. There was 2 tables outside. And there was one in here.
Okay, that was the biggest one I remember at this house.
Because that's like 40 people.
Yeah.
We're playing like 10 people at a table. We're not playing 6 or 7.
It was crazy. And it was awesome. But in terms of the like good memories, every time is good because it's just time to hang out. But like some of the post-game activities like playing golf, racing, playing basketball.
Should I tell that story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so there's a guy in the group named Dave. He's a really good dude. And one night, this is my first time actually, just second maybe my second time playing at one of these. I'm really into poker, and so I'm a very big fan of poker. And so I was really excited to be coming to these, but I didn't talk a whole lot. I was a pretty quiet guy because I don't know these guys super well. And I was still wearing my tracksuit because I came here straight after a basketball game. Just immediately after the game, I came straight here.
Right.
And So one of the guys, Dave, he challenges me to a race. And, you know, some of these guys, I hadn't been drinking, but other people have been drinking. You know, people are of age. I was younger. I was 19. And he starts telling me he can beat me in a race. And I was like, dude, no, you can't. You're 40. Like, there's no way you can beat me in a race.
Right.
And then so we go out and we end up racing. And so I end up winning. Can you confirm that?
I believe so.
Yeah, I did end up winning when we were wearing nothing. And then...
What?
Hold on. Okay, not nothing. Hold on. Pause. But then someone says to me, I bet you can beat Jason with weights. I was like, I don't know about that. And Jason's like, there's no way. And Jason, and this is all accurate, correct?
Yeah.
And Jason's like, there's no way. And so what we did is we put me in a suit that had, how's that? Like,
it was a weighted vest.
It was a weighted vest. Like, how much was in it?
I can't remember exactly. 30, 40 pounds.
And then I was holding plates, right? And so we did the holding plates, and I lost that one. Jason got me on that one.
Which should have been the case.
I was holding 135 pounds.
Right.
And then, so I put down the plates and we raced again. And I ended up beating Jason wearing this weighted vest suit. And it was just hilarious. And it was like one of the best nights. We were all just talking crap. And people were putting money on these races. And I think Alex put down $100 for me to win with holding everything.
That's crazy.
And, I mean, he won the game that night. So he made like $300. And so like, then he puts down $100 on that. And I felt bad. I told him not to. I was like... Dude, don't do it. I mean, this is a lot of weight. Like, right. But I mean, I actually wore his shoes. I don't even remember, like, because I was wearing slippers, and so I put his shoes on.
Okay.
And I slipped at the end. Yeah. But anyway, so just some of those memories. I mean, when you get a bunch of guys that are just, you know, living, just good people. Yep. We got egos, we got pride, and it was a great time. And so, is there ever gonna be a tie between TikTok and poker? I know you've done a little bit of a tie with wiffle ball, but what about with poker?
I mean, I thought about putting some of the posts up just of us playing just a quick...
It's hard to do it like with your humor-based...
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of tough.
The only way to make it win is to actually slide across the table during a game.
Oh, no. Hey, I'll be there for it. As long as you're wearing the orange shorts.
And then it will break. And it will be hilarious, for sure. Like when it's
now I have to buy a new one. I probably didn't make enough off of the video to...
Yeah, when it's time to buy a new table, it might make sense for me to slide across it and let it collapse.
It's felt, though.
Yeah. I mean, I slid across basically sandpaper, so...
So you just need enough soap, right?
Yeah, for real. That would help.
Yeah, and so let's... what about, like... What kind of impact has, like, your faith? So, Jason is a man of faith, strong relationship with Jesus, as am I. And so, what would you say that impact has had on just the way you've gone about things in life? Whether it's TikTok, whether it's your family?
Yeah.
Or...
I mean, in terms of faith and kind of the... like Jesus' approach to love your neighbor. Mm-hmm. My dad had always been big into be nice to people.
Yeah.
You know, like if you can start there, it's going to be a pretty good foundation for your life. And like I grew up in a Catholic church. Uh-huh. And so to me, I didn't get it. I knew there was a God, but I felt like it was more like if I don't live well, God's watching.
Yeah.
You know, like that was kind of my relationship.
More about being a good Catholic versus having a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah. And so I didn't know what a relationship with Jesus was.
Yeah.
And so when I turned 18, I kind of left the church, not with any anger, just like I'm not feeling it. Stayed nice to people. Mm-hmm. But I was working full time and, you know, I moved out but when Heather and I got married in 2009, we started going to Harbor City Church.
Yeah.
And right away, I did this Christianity 101 class. And it was like an eye-opener where, do you know Ron McCarty?
I've heard the name.
Okay, so he laid out this illustration of, all right, so the way this goes is you have man, us, on this side, and a massive ravine, and then you have God over here, and we can't have a relationship with God because he is holy and perfect and we are sinners and we can't be together.
Yeah.
And then he showed the cross as the bridge.
Wow.
And I'm like okay, So our relationship
that's so good
with Jesus is what makes the whole thing work.
Absolutely.
And so I understood forgiveness more. I understood, and I just started reading more in the Bible, kind of doing the whole chapter a day, which I should do more of now. But
no,
now I just do more like a devotional in the morning, and it still sets the tone. That's kind of how today looks. But I mean, my faith has always been a huge part in my family, my relationship with my wife, my friends. We host like a city group, connect group, church group at our house on a usually monthly basis. It would have been a weekly basis with all the kids and schedules. It's hard to make. It should be quarterly. Monthly seems to work out well, but then there's always one or two families missing because of scheduling.
Absolutely.
But yeah, right now I do that devotional, and have you seen my post, The Daily Bread?
I haven't.
Okay, so every day on Facebook I just put up Daily Bread, and that's just like what the devotional was and my kind of reflection on it.
That's awesome.
And that's it. Because for my entire career in real estate, I was told, don't post about politics and don't post about religion. Yeah. Right? And I feel like, in the Bible, it's like if you are hiding Jesus, you're showing shame for 100%. Jesus. And I'm like, I feel like at this point, my reputation's established. And if somebody's not going to like me for posting about my faith, I'm not pushing it on anybody. Yeah. But what if somebody needed to hear it and I didn't say it?
That is the exact... I 100% hear that. So, for me, what kind of I've never been much of a reader. And so, getting into reading the Bible consistently has always been difficult. There's been times where I would read a chapter every single night. Mm-hmm. But, for me, I had a big breakthrough. I was in Cincinnati, and now I'm big on spending time in prayer. I think there's a difference between praying and spending time in prayer. Yep. And so every night I make sure that before I go to bed I'm spending legitimate time in prayer. Not just because I think that praying's a monologue. Spending time in prayer is a dialogue. Mm-hmm. And so I'm speaking and listening. Right. And that's when I feel like God will tell me things that I need to tweet. Or I need to, not that I've never been much to use Twitter much, except for now that I'm in this gaming scene, I try to use it more. Mm-hmm. But if I don't say that, then the person that needs to see it won't see it. Right. And maybe it's just one person, and maybe it's just to obey. Right. Right? And so I totally get that. I think that they'll say that mostly when you're a figure, because as a real estate agent, if you want people to go with you, you're a figure. Right? People are looking to, it's more who do I want to work with than necessarily specifically what you're doing with your business. Although there's probably some gap in doing it the right way and different things like that. But a lot of times it's, okay, well, I like this guy. So whether it's buying a car or buying a house, right. I like this guy, so I'm going to request him. Right. Right. And so I totally get that. And so what about do you think that God has hand in your TikTok growth? Do you think that is coincided?
I think God has his hand in everything, mm-hmm. So it wouldn't have worked out if I wasn't, it may have, but I feel like it'd be a different end result, with the goal of making people smile, I'd probably have different styles of posts. One rule we have, between Heather and I, is if we wouldn't show it to our kids, we won't post it. Yeah. So that foundation of we want to keep this super clean. Yep. And because it's also the same time, if we do something that's leaning towards at all, we don't want to show them, they could be watching it, they turn 14, 15, 16, and they're watching videos from old TikTok. Oh, well, our parents thought it was fine, so I can do that. Yeah. I don't want that. I want them to grow up and be kind and respectful and, and live. It's hard to live you can't live a perfect life. We're all sinners. Absolutely. But, set in the general tone of there's ways to have fun and, not be dropping F-bombs and, absolutely. Jalen is now at the age where it's gee, there's a lot of bad words in this song. These days it's every song. Yeah. And all you have to do is try and cut that out. And we were watching Jim Gaffigan today. Mm-hmm. She's oh my gosh, he said a bad word. I'm honestly, this guy is very clean. This
guy's about PG.
He really is. Yeah. It was a one-off that he said something. And most of the time, if you were to flip the coin on a comedian, you're going to get every other word. Absolutely. Every sentence has something bad. Yeah. So. Yeah, but I think that framework, that foundation of what we learned from mm-hmm. observing, reading the Bible and seeing others in the church and it set the tone for TikTok. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. Like my stream, my YouTube, you'll never hear a cuss word. Every once in a while, there will probably be some jokes that work their way to more edgy than they probably should. But no swear words, no. Because also, I don't want to look back at this and be like, say I were to work my way into ministry. Say I were to do something. I don't want to have something like, I regret that that's out there.
Right.
Right. And I don't want to have to, just like you with your kids, you don't want them to see it in a couple of years and you regret that that's not there.
Yep.
And so I totally get that. And I think you're spot on when you say God's hand is in everything.
Right.
I think that when God's hand is in everything, that's when you see things go well.
Absolutely.
And there will be things that God's hand's not in. And I think that for us that are pursuing a relationship with God, those are the things that we just want to avoid. Mm-hmm. And Michael Todd had an interesting thing where he talked about, so when he was 22, he got offered a $100,000 contract to go and produce music in LA. And that was his dream. Mm-hmm. And then he spoke to God about it, and God was like, you can go, but my hand will no longer be in it. My hand will no longer be in what you're doing. And he's like, what the heck? This is what I've want. And then so now looking at all the success that he's had. And I don't know if you know Michael Todd.
I don't know.
Michael Todd is the head lead pastor at Transformation Church in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And easily my favorite pastor. He's massive now, and he's in music production. He's in some of this stuff. Like, God still got him there.
Yeah.
And realistically, he probably makes way more money than he would have. There's a lot of things that are, he's doing amazing.
Right.
And so, just kind of interesting how that all goes. And we kind of touched on, with God's hand in everything, your goal is to have him impact your everyday decision. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that was where I was going to kind of segue to is, how is God impacting your everyday decision? Well, when you're living a life where his hand's in everything, it's in every decision.
Right.
Right? And whether that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to hear from God every time you think, should I go left or right? It's, the direction of my life is towards Jesus, so I know that the way I'm going to go is right.
Right. If
that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so, and what would you say is the overall importance of the faith in your life?
It all on the same lines. It is the importance of it's the foundation of everything. Mm-hmm. If let's say I just decide to skip the daily bread, don't read at all, there's going to be little drops of knowledge that I'll get here and there through whatever, church, going to church, or if I stop going to church, stop doing all that, I think slowly you veer away and make decisions that you alter the course of your whole life. Yeah. So absolutely. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. And so, as a successful individual in multiple assets of life, what advice can you give to people who are trying to walk down some of these paths, right? Who are trying to, not necessarily just in faith, but maybe in faith, but in TikTok, in content creation, in maybe real estate, in just life. What are some, what's some piece of advice that you can give?
I'd say, first of all, just do whatever it is that you want to do. So if it is content, if it is music, whatever it is, do that and be consistent, and don't be afraid to fail. Like we talked about, people are going to say crappy stuff about literally, even if it's great, there are still people who speak negatively about it. So why not just do what you're passionate about, And I think the biggest thing is failing is not failure, right?
Yeah.
It's just one way not to do it.
Yeah.
Or there's just a better way to do it.
100%. It's the lessons, right?
Yeah. Because I think one of the big things that pop up is people will not post video because it's not good enough quality. Yeah. It's important.
Yeah, quality matters, but quality at some point you have to post.
Yeah.
You have to hit publish.
Yeah, I think it's more about if it's organic or not.
Yeah.
To put a weird analogy to it, it's kind of like you might have an organic carrot that's all shaped weird, but it's going to be freaking delicious.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
A video that has some quirks to it, but isn't perfect, is still what people want to see.
Absolutely.
And so, I don't know. I think that topic could be a one-on-one conversation with anybody who is I don't know what I want to do next, but I think overall, it's just that piece of just go try.
Yeah, miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Absolutely. Michael Scott, right?
Michael Scott's the king, so yeah, that's fair. And so, last thing, are there any future plans beyond like TikTok and real estate? Do you have anything that's kind of in the woodworks that you want to talk about?
I mean, now a lot of my focus is just family, and like, you know, we're trying to put our brokerage in a spot where it can be here for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of agent development and, you know, just serving the community well. I mean, in terms of we want to travel more at some point. That's like that. We've only traveled really the western side of the U.S., so getting to the east a little more. Getting to Europe once things have settled down with COVID. Kids are a little bit older. That kind of stuff can happen a little more often.
Absolutely.
So,
well, Jason, thank you. This is the first podcast that we've put together. I'll probably we haven't completely confirmed a name yet, so I'll make sure that's in by the time this is posted. But again, man, thank you so much. This was a blast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Once again, check him out. The Real Atwood's on TikTok. What's your YouTube?
YouTube, actually, I think it's The Real Atwood's also.
Okay, The Real Atwood's also on YouTube.
Yeah.
And
if
probably
not, it's just Jason Atwood.
Just Jason Atwood. We'll have it linked down below. I appreciate it. And again, thank you, man. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day. Eat your veggie, say your prayers, y'all. We will catch you next time. Peace out, you freaking legends. Thanks for watching. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a blast. Shout out to Jason. That guy's unbelievable. It was an amazing conversation, and I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be trying to come out with these once a month. Some will be in person, some will be online. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. The name of the podcast is still being danced with, but as of right now, it's going to be a deep dive with Doobie as you guys get to know me better and just some of what I stand for and believe in. And so I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe. And as always, eat some veggies, say your prayers, y'all. We will catch you next time. Peace out, you freaking legends. Also, there's videos right here, so check those out.